Hello, welcome to a nice short little practice to open up the shoulders, the upper spine, the chest region, and really we'll open up the whole body with it. But nice to do this one first thing in the morning especially. So let's get into it. We'll start lying down in Supta Baddha Konasana. So soles of the feet to touch. We'll let the knees butterfly out to the sides. And let's begin there, shall we? So just take a moment or two to settle in. You might tuck the shoulder blades a little further underneath you and adjust the head so the throat feels open. As you settle into stillness, take a nice long and very deep breath in. Soft and relaxing breath out. And start to notice the sensation of the body. Start to notice the felt experience of your body. Let your attention settle on your physical form. And more than that, the quality of your attention becomes tuned to the felt experience. So feeling starts to take over from analysis. And start to notice the lower back completely releasing. Let that transfer through to the belly space as well. Ribs, jaw, and eyes completely soften. And let that center your attention on your breathing. With a little bit of this spaciousness through the torso, start to become aware of the ease and the mobility of your breathing. And then start to deepen your breath. So as you inhale, imagine that you can send it way down towards your tailbone. Let that fill up and come up through the spine, up through the side body, expanding to the center of the chest and letting it lift. And as you exhale, just let it slow down. Dab the brakes on the breath. And see if you can start to stretch out your breath to about 5 or 6 seconds to breathe in, 5 or 6 seconds to breathe out. And as you set this rhythm of breath, this is a very beneficial biorhythm on your breathing. It correlates to some brain waves, and as you slow down your breathing, you slow down your heart, and the mind and the brain waves start to match that rhythm. As you slow down the rhythm of your breath, you slow down the rhythm of your mind, and it brings us closer to what's known as alpha brain waves. Now, this is a state where you're alert but calm. The sense of perspective, rationale, empathy, compassion all correlate to this length of brainwave. Good stuff to take into the practice. And let's just keep that rhythm moving, 5 or 6 in, 5 or 6 out. Don't necessarily need to count, but you've got a bit of a reference point for that rhythm. Let's go ahead and start to draw the knees together, up in towards the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a squeeze there, and nothing too severe in all of these initial movements of the body. So maybe some little knee circles. If you're feeling a little bit more spaciousness in the hips and the lower back, you might come towards happy baby. The outer blades of the feet, but again, nothing forceful. There's an attitude of empathy with the way that you're holding your body. Just take another breath or two here, maybe a little pedal, a little kick. Hug both knees in towards the chest and take them over to the left into a bit of a twist. Now you might scoot your hips a bit more over to the right and let your right shoulder open out quite broadly. Now, nothing too harsh on the depth of the legs, but see if you can soften through the right shoulder. Let the rib cage completely rotate down towards the floor. As best as you can. And start to feel your breath. So the inhale is a little compressed as you breathe in deep. That's okay. But then the exhale is quite releasing. Let the rib cage soften. Just one more breath. Inhaling, back up through the center, onto the other side of that twist. Again, you might scooch the hips a bit over to the side and drop them over. Opening out the left shoulder now. Same deal. Deep inhale, so we're bringing some extra compression down into the organs. That's good. We create blood flow down with a little bit of that pressurization. And then the exhale, allowing the twist to deepen just through the ribs and the chest, not much more than that. Final breath. Inhale, back up through to center. Hug the knees in. Rock your way up to a seated position. And then let's roll over the knees and come towards cat-cow. So find tabletop, hands and knees. As you inhale, press your belly down, puff the chest forward and look up very gently. And then exhaling, arching, rounding, raising up through the spine. And then carry on. Inhale to press. Exhale to arch. You take 2 or 3 more rounds by yourself. Just get a bit of movement going through your hips, your spine, and your shoulders. Nice and rhythmic. So synchronicity of breath and movement is part of the key here. And again, you're feeling the body. You're noticing and getting updated on what's going on in the body. Awareness, depth of knowledge of the body, a really key component of the whole yoga practice. We'll just take one more round here. Dip to the arch. And then returning to a neutral spine, kick your right leg straight back. Tuck the toes as hard as you can. We're going to get stuck into the calf. So as you place the foot down, drive the heel back, and you might push into the hands and lift even the left knee off the floor to really drive back into the heel, but it doesn't have to be as deep as that. Just a little bit of extra pressure through the heel. We'll just take 2 more breaths, but keep the knee quite straight and stiff. Back to tabletop. Onto the other side. So as you kick your left leg back, really tuck the toe so the ankle is fully kind of locked there as the foot comes down, and then send the heel back. Again, feel it out, more pressure through the shoulders, driving more force through the leg. Knee is quite straight. Breath or 2 more here. Back to tabletop, hands and knees. Walk your hands out about as wide as your mat. Take the chest towards the floor into puppy pose, but keep it really soft here. So hips stay above the knees, bum high, as you start to drop the chest down. So maybe for some of us, the chest or the forehead's coming to the floor, but see if you can really wrap or round your armpits down as you let the chest drop down. Again, nothing too harsh. 3 more breaths here. Final breath, let the middle of your back melt. Back to tabletop. Walk the hands out. Now go ahead and sit down onto the heels. Now maybe for some of us we sit on something, a cushion, a block or a bolster. If not, all good, sit on the heels and then go ahead and raise the arms up towards the ceiling. Nice big breath in. Exhale to twist over to your right. So the right hand comes behind your lower back. The left hand can catch the knee, even the side body, or even just grab a bunch of material here if you wanted to. And lift the chest, rotate through the spine. Just 2 more breaths here. Really roll back the right shoulder. Stay for one last breath. Now keep your left hand on your leg or whatever you're grabbing a hold of and raise the right arm up towards the ceiling. We're coming towards a side bend. Reach up, 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 and keep that sense of lift upward as you tilt just a little to the left. It's the uplift that makes the difference. One more generous breath here. Both arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale to twist the other direction. So left arm wraps behind the lower back, thumb turns down, and the right hand catches a hold of something. So we're getting some traction here. But keep the spine tall. Pinch back the left shoulder and keep the chest proud and lifted. The left shoulder blade drops down a little. So we're kind of opening from the ear to the shoulder, the top of the shoulder, the tip of the shoulder. 2 more big breaths there. And then keep a hold of the leg. Left arm raising up, upward lift, and tilt. A few big breaths. Kind of keep the body weight over towards the left sitting bone. A couple of big breaths. Nice. And then back through to center. Both arms up for one brief moment. And now go ahead and interlace your hands behind your lower back. So as you roll back the shoulders, keep the chest lifting up, pinch the shoulders back. Up to you if you want to raise the hands up a little further away from the lower back. But again, keep the shoulder blades coming down and belly in. So it's going to limit the movement a little bit. That's okay. We keep some tight core here. Another breath or 2. Squeeze at the palms. And then release. We'll come out into a downward facing dog. So place the palms, tuck the toes, lift up the hips. And you might make a little bit of movement to come into down dog. And we'll just go 2 or 3 more breaths there. Let the chest come back and down. Start to walk your hands backwards towards your feet. Nice, gentle forward fold. So as much of a bend in the knees as you want here. Let the chest and the neck completely relax. A little bit of weight shifting forward and back through the feet, toes to heels for just 2 more breaths. And then roll and round up through the spine. Reach up and stretch up nice and tall. Oh, there's the light. And then exhale to fold straight back down. And as you come down, walk your hands out to like a plank position, top of a push-up. Drop your knees, lower the whole body down until you're flat onto the floor. Take the hands a little wider. Inhale to lift up the chest into cobra. Exhale to ease the chest back down, and then carry on just like that. The inhale lifts up, and the exhale takes you down. Do a bunch more by yourself. So find your own rhythm. Try and point the feet. Keep the thighs and the glutes somewhat engaged. Let's just do 3 more. Again, rhythm and synchronicity with the breath. Rhythm and synchronicity. Last one. Lift and lower. And as the chest comes down, push back through the tabletop, hands and knees. And then again, sit down on the heels. Now 2 options. We can untuck the toes, and that's going to be a little bit nicer. We might tuck the toes and start to stretch out the sole of the foot. I know it's not the most pleasant place to be for a lot of us, but try and work with it. Try and find some settling breath. Interlace your hands behind the lower back. Roll back the shoulders. And this time, try and take the hands or the fist over towards your left hip. I might just change angles here. Give you a front view. As you roll back the shoulders, keep the chest lifted, and then start to tilt the head very gently over to the left. You really don't want to force to push this one. Maybe just a little bit of a tilt of the chin up or down and be explorative. Now, stretching this more is not necessarily better. So we want this to be really mild feeling. More than that, make it quite active. So rolling back the right shoulder and pinching the shoulder blade down a little bit. So you're finding it from the anchor point, the base of this kind of stretchiness. The head is just almost like a bit of a weight rather than a force. One more big breath here, a bit of a short stop. And then release. Raise up the arms, big breath in. And then onto the other side. So hands interlace again. Take it over to the right hip. Pinch back the shoulder, drop it down a little bit. And then again, a little tilt. Up and down. Just 2 or 3 breaths more. Well, maybe a little longer. We'll try and keep it even, shall we? Waffled on the first side. So again, shoulder back, shoulder blade dropping a little bit. Still, just got a little bit of tension in the belly. Just keeping everything tight. How's your toes doing? I'm feeling it now. Okay, we'll take just a couple more breaths. We'll hang in there. Last 1 or 2. And then, all right, that'll just about do it. Release. Last little thing, raise up the arms, big breath, nothing too harsh. And then hands to the floor and release. So you might untuck your toes and just give them a sec to let blood flow back in. Oof. Maybe tapping for some of us feels nice. Just leaving them still is also good. And one more big breath there before we come back into downward facing dog. So tuck the toes, lift up the hips. 2 big breaths there. Strong shoulders, so we're trying to push the ground away and then draw the chest back as the tailbone lifts up. Next inhale, come into high plank, drop the knees, lower the chest all the way down until you're flat. Again, take the hands wide and inhale to lift the chest. Exhale to lower down. 2 more like this. Inhale, lift. Exhale to lower. Inhale up. And exhale to bring it down. Let's just do one more, little slower on the release. So inhale to lift. Grip the glutes as you lower down. Nice and slow. This time, extend your left arm straight out to the left-hand side of the mat so that the hand is in line with your shoulder, and then roll onto your left hip. For some of us, we might just keep the knees staggered, so the right knee might be out to the side, a bit more like a half frog. We might bring the legs together, or even step the right foot over the left leg and let the knee rotate out. Now, head can be on the floor, or maybe on a block or a bolster or a pillow. You might move your hips a bit over to the side. Now, not too long here. About 5 more big breaths. One final slow exhalation. Roll out and release and come on to the other side. Right arm sticks out. Again, roll over. Get yourself supported and propped up. Relax the head and the neck. Find something that's going to work on the legs for your body. And sometimes,
not the best description, but sometimes the pregnancy pillow. We bend the knees, we bring a pillow between the two legs. That can be super nice. I love that one. But today, feeling a little more bendy in the shoulders. So let the knee drop out, but you feel it out for your body. It's got to be appropriate for your body. More is not necessarily better. So partly the conditioning of the mind and this idea of the brain waves slowing down with the breath waves slowing down. If you put yourself into a highly compromised position, nearly impossible to slow it all down. A few final breaths here. Heavier and heavier. Slower and slower. Last 2 or 3 breaths. Release. Come on down, the next breath or two. Might just take a second or two on the belly there. But as soon as you feel ready, let's push back to child's pose. So into the fetal position. Wide knees if you can. And then walking the hands out and bringing the chest forward and down. Welcome to take the hands back by the side as well. Just take this opportunity for more of like an energetic closure, a sense of coming into yourself. Two more breaths there. And then as you're ready, inhale to lift up, lift out. Come into a seated position. So take your legs out to the side and then out in front of you. And come towards a wide-legged forward fold. So it doesn't have to be too wide. You can just sort of take them to 90 degrees or even closer. It doesn't have to be all the way out to the side. But let's go ahead and lift through the lower back. You're welcome to sit on something if this is feeling a bit yucky as it is, just sitting upright. Definitely sit on something. Otherwise, start to fold. Hands are right there, like a little kickstand, little bit of support. So bring the chest gently forward and in. We try and keep a little bit of integrity in this one. The feet vertically lifted, bit of tension in the shin, the ankle, a little bit through the thighs. We're not talking maximum. It's just a sense of direction, a sense of accountability, and then some good softness coming through the jaw and the shoulders. So again, that settling of the mood into the posture. Just about 5 breaths and that's all. Last couple of breaths. Really try and saturate your lower back with your breath. Bring it right down again into the compressed belly, but fill it sideways into the ribs. Let it rise up into the middle of the chest. Last big breath now. As you lift the chest, take a big inhale. And we'll come towards a seated twist. So my suggestion, left leg straight out in front of you. Might give the legs a little shake if you wanted to, but left leg straight out in front of you, right foot stepping over the left knee or even inside the left knee. Both are perfect, but I'm going to cross it for today, a little deeper. Right hand behind the lower back, left hand coming up so we get some lift through the spine, and then either grab the knee with the hand or the elbow around the knee and prop up the lower back as high as you can. This left hand can be sort of up. We can take it back to the chest if we wanted to. Easy on the breathing, but try and rotate through your ribs again. So the lower back is somewhat stable here. Right shoulder peels back. 2 or 3 more breaths here. Chest pulling through the shoulders, proud, tall, lifted. Inhale, back through center, onto the other side. So right leg out, give everything a bit of a shake and a loosen off, and then left foot steps over, right arm comes up, stretch up, and then twist. Lift a little through the lower back, rotate through the shoulders, chest lifting, and the exhale starting to smooth out. 2 sitting bones heavy. Just take another couple of breaths here. And then a release. Come back through to center. And then coming towards Baddha Konasana. So bring the soles of the feet to touch. You might grab a hold of the shins or the ends of the feet. Prop up the chest a little here. And then start to bow any amount forward. So taking your time with it. Not a very long hold here. Probably just 5 or 6 breaths. Really see if you can bring some softness through the shoulders, the jaw, the eyes. And see about spreading the breath down into the lower back. Final couple of breaths here. And then very lightly in the next breath or two, no great rush, starting to lift up the chest, draw the knees together. We'll head down towards the floor and we're on our way towards Savasana. So as you lie down, you might just hug the knees in towards the chest for a moment. Have a little bit of a squeeze, maybe even happy baby. If there's something else you want to do, like a twist or an inversion or a little back bend, please feel free, absolutely. But if you're ready, let's come on down to lay flat. And as you reach the floor, take a nice long and very deep breath in, soft and releasing breath out. Pretty immediately releasing at the back of the neck and down through the lower back. And then start to notice all of the contact points between the back of the body and the floor. See if you can spread your attention out through your body. Simultaneously be aware of your fingers and your toes, the crown of the head. Notice the rise and fall of your belly button.
Notice the gentle surrender of the body, but we take part in the process of rest. There's a sense of presence with the experience of rest. Let the body sink and settle. Let's pause here. Really try and take as much time as you can here in Savasana, but if you're ready, start to have a little wriggle, have a little stretch. Awaken the body. We'll come up to a seated position as gently as you possibly can, turning off to a side. I just take a little moment with the eyes closed. If you're called to, bring the hands to prayer at heart center. And just take a little moment here, getting full of gratitude. And you can direct that towards anything at all. But the key is sincerity and clarity. So get full of that feeling. And with that in mind, we humbly bow the head and say Namaste. Yeah. Enjoy. Thank you for joining. Take care. Much love to you. See you soon.